All right, good afternoon, Gladiators. Welcome back. This is Mr. Whittlesey, Dean of Students. I wanted to go over some things with you all to make sure we're all on the same page in regards to expectations and school culture. And so I'll be talking about being on time, dress code, electronic devices, academic dishonesty, food and drink, as well as communities. All right, let's jump right in. All right, in terms of times, as most of you already know, 7 a.m. the doors open. That's the earliest you can come into the building. From there, you can wait in the cafeteria and hang out there for breakfast. And then at 7:25, everyone is dismissed to go up or go to their classes, to their lockers, or whatever you may need to do. 7:40, first period starts. That means the expectation is that you are seated and ready to go in your first period class. In terms of arriving to school, we have a 8:40 a.m. cutoff. If you're going to arrive after that, please have your parent contact us and let us know. Specifically, contact Miss Rose and let her know that you will be arriving after 8:40. 2:45 is the early dismissal cutoff, and so again, if you are leaving for the day, your parent is coming to get you. We ask that they do so before 2:45. After 2:45, we're kind of scrambling, getting ready for dismissal, and so it makes it a little difficult for us to go and pull students from class and things like that. And so we ask that you don't do any early dismissals after 2:45. 3:15 obviously is dismissal. We expect you to one or two things: either go straight home, or you can remain here in the building if you are going to the academic center, going to a club, waiting for a practice to start or something like that. Again, but we don't expect anyone to just be hanging out and loitering. So please clear the campus if you are not remaining in the building for a program or something like that. And then you can do so. You can hang out in the cafeteria up until 4 p.m. We do clear out the cafeteria. So if you were waiting on a ride or something like that, you can do so in there. But again, at 4 p.m., we clear that out. And the only people who are allowed to remain in the building will be people who are actually staying for a club or a sport. And then tardy to school, please make sure that you are here before first period. It is very important. Something that changed this year is that we are including early dismissals and tardies. We're putting them together. And so you are allowed to have a total of 20 early dismissals and tardies per school semester. Per semester. So again, just make sure you're being mindful of being on time, but also being mindful of how often you are leaving school early. And then lastly, tardy to class. Make sure you are seated and ready to go. When the bell rings, if you're not in your class, you are going to need to come to my office and get a pass. And that is an automatic community if you are tardy to class. So again, let's make sure we're being on time. All right, uniform. All right, pretty straightforward. You all know the uniform, you know the dress code. The big thing that I want to make sure I'm clear about is that we are wearing our ties at all times. A lot of you will have ties but not put them on. They'll be in your book bag or in your locker or something like that. Please make sure your tie is on. Also, jackets, hoodies, outerwear. You cannot wear anything over the actual uniform. And so please do not try to throw a hoodie on or put some sort of jacket on and things like that. You will be asked to remove it. Okay, you cannot wear that. And if it becomes an issue, we will confiscate it. Outside of that, for my young ladies, skirts, please make sure that your skirts are knee length and not too short. Again, fingertip rule, put your hands to your side. If the skirt is shorter than your fingertip, your longest fingertip, it is too short. And then one other thing, the first Spirit Dress Down Day, Dress Down Friday is September 11th. So between now and then, you're expected to be in full uniform every day that you come to school. Continue with dress code. I just want to make sure that everyone's clear about the shoes. I'm going over this with freshmen, and obviously, if you are not a freshman, you know our expectations around shoes, but they must be brown or black closed-toe dress shoes. Okay. And these are just some examples. One thing I would say, please leave your shoes here. Do not take them home because you run the risk of leaving them at home. So wear different shoes to school, change into your uniform shoes to wear throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, switch them back out. That way you don't ever have to worry about coming to school and saying, oh, I forgot my shoes at home. And then here are just some examples of shoes that are not acceptable that I've seen students try to wear in the past. Again, so like black Crocs and moccasins and Uggs and things like that. None of these shoes are acceptable. Again, They should be black or brown dress shoes. All right, hair colors. Natural human hair colors. And so I have some examples of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And so obviously any really bright red colors, colors like purple, blue, yellow, orange, green, pink are not permitted. If you come into the building and you have these colors in your hair, you will be sent to my office, and you will not be allowed to go to class until you have fixed the hair color. Okay, and so again, want to make sure that we're clear about this. If you have questions about hair color, feel free to send an email to myself or stop by my office and just ask. Better to ask instead of just going and doing it and then finding out that it's not acceptable. And then bags. So a lot of you may be carrying around different bags throughout the day. You may have your book bag. Young ladies, you may have a book bag and a purse. One thing I want to point out is that we should not be carrying tons of bags throughout the hallways and into classes. You're allowed to have a book bag and a personal item. The other thing is that bags, purses, those items are not allowed to just sit on your desk. So if you have those things, you can sit them, you can hang them on the back of your chair. You can place them if you have a basket under your seat there, or just ask your teacher where is a designated area where you can place them in the class, or simply just put them in your locker. But you should not have bags and things covering your desk. Headwear, hats, do-rags, head coverings, wraps, those are not permitted, so please do not come in the building. With those things on, you're going to need to take them off when you arrive in the building. And then piercings, facial piercings are not allowed, and for my young man, you are not allowed to wear earrings. All right, moving on to electronic devices. All right, so obviously you most of you probably, I'm sure, aware of the change, but cell phones, tablets, headphones, AirPods, electronic devices are not allowed at all in class or in hallways during school hours. That's always been the rule. One thing that has changed is that when you go to your class, you will have to turn in your cell phone. Your teacher has a case in which it will just go in that case. You're to sit it in there during class, and when class is dismissed, you're to get it out and go to your next class, and that is for every class. You are obviously allowed to have your cell phone at lunch, so you don't have to turn it in or anything like that. Hopefully you got my email that I sent out last night stating that you are allowed to have headphones at lunch. That is the only time during the school day in which you can have your headphones on and out. Outside of lunch, they should be put away. They should not be around your neck in the hallway. They should not be out in class or anything like that. Again, this is a temporary. We give you temporary permission to do so. We're going to look at how things go the first quarter, and if we can't abide by the rules regarding the headphones, then they won't be allowed at lunch. And so we want to make sure that you guys are adhering to the policies we put in place. And so the only place we should see headphones would be at lunch. In terms of the phones in class, you're not allowed to charge your phones in class, obviously, because they're supposed to be turned in. So we shouldn't be asking to charge them while they're turned in. If you need to make an important phone call, you can feel free to ask your teacher to send you to my office where you can do so. And then you may have some questions around this, like, can I take my phone with me when I go to the restroom? No, it remains in class. If you, for whatever reason, you go to get your phone and it's not there, come to my office, let your teacher know, but then you would need to come to my office. I don't anticipate that being an issue, but please be mindful when you are retrieving your phone to make sure you're grabbing your phone. Want to be extremely clear, though, if you refuse to turn in a phone, that's not an option, and so you will be sent home. If you claim that you do not have a phone, you will be sent to my office, and I will call home and verify whether or not you do have a cell phone. So please, let's just not make this a big deal or issue. Simply turn in your phone, participate in class, engage, and then when class is over, get your phone and move on to the next class. Again, if you have any questions or anything about this, feel free to shoot me an email, or you can stop by my office. Glad to answer any questions. All right, academic dishonesty. We saw a rise in this last year, and so just wanted to make sure it was clear what the expectations are around this and the policy around academic dishonesty. If you commit academic dishonesty, meaning that you cheat, whether that's using a cheat sheet of paper, whether that's copying off someone, whether that is using AI to produce the work that you're supposed to produce independently, any of those things, it's considered academic dishonesty. And so minor offenses include things like homework, classwork. If you are caught doing that, you will receive a community. Major offenses include cheating on major assignments and assessments, so things like tests, projects, final exams, major papers, things like that. You will have to complete a written reflection, and you will receive a 1-day out-of-school suspension and be placed on disciplinary probation. So please, we're taking this extremely serious. The other thing is you will lose the privilege of having a grading floor, meaning that a 0 will go in the grade book for whatever that is that you cheated on. And so with that said, that 0 will remain there until you make up the assignment, but there will be no grading floor. So whatever you earn on the assignment is what will go in the grade book. Want to be extremely clear about this. There's no reason to cheat. We want to know what you know so that we can work with you to get you to where you need to be. So please have some integrity, be honest in your work, and we won't have to even deal with this. All right, moving on. Food and drink. Deliveries are not allowed, so you cannot order anything from Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats, anything like that. If a family member, grandma, auntie, your mom, someone wants to drop off food for you to eat at lunch, they can do that, but you cannot order food and have it delivered. Your parents cannot order food and have it delivered here to the school. In terms of eating and drinking, that's not allowed in the classrooms or in the hallways or common areas. Lunch is the only place that you should be consuming food and beverages like that. Obviously, you can have water in classrooms, but again, make sure that it is water and not juice or pop or anything like that. And then one last thing about food and drink, selling food is not permitted. So please do not open up shop during passing periods, selling food out your book bag or anything like that. There are a lot of different reasons why it's not permitted, but just a lot of liability around that and the potential for someone to have an allergic reaction. If you're making food at home, there could be stuff in there that someone is allergic to. So again, selling food is not permitted. So if you got a little bakery, a little side hustle or anything like that, that is great. Just make sure you are not selling that food here in the school to other students. All right, community. Again, going over this if you're a freshman, we talked about this, but everyone else, you should know this. Communities must be served by the end of the month in which they're earned. You can serve them Wednesday through Friday from 3:30 to 4:30. You would need to report to 208. If a community is not served within that month in which it's earned, it does turn into a Saturday prep. If you do not serve your Saturday prep, that turns into a 1-day out-of-school suspension. And again, if you earn another consequence, so for instance, you earn a Saturday prep, or if you earn an out-of-school suspension, that does not get rid of the community. And so those communities will remain, and you will need to actually serve those. What I would advise everyone to do is just take a quick look at the student code of conduct, and pay attention to the infractions and the consequences that come along with those, just so you're familiar with those. Even if you are returning, if you're coming back and you're a senior or junior, upperclassman, I would advise you to just take a look at it so you know exactly what our expectations are. And then community thresholds. The numbers you see here, those are the maximum number of communities that you can earn for your class. And so if you go over that, you put yourself in jeopardy of having to be here over the summer, or potentially having a hearing in which we would determine whether or not this school is a fit for you, or you are fit for this school. And so these numbers, obviously, they go down as you get older because we expect you to know the rules and adhere to our expectations. That's all I have for you all. I was trying to keep this under 15 minutes, and I am at 14 minutes and 30 seconds as I speak. With all of that said, my hope is that you are having a great day, great first day back. If you're listening to this and it's not your first day back, I'm hoping you're having a great day anyway. If you ever have any questions, feel free to email me or stop by my office. So excited to have you all in the building. Let's make this school year 2026-27 the best school year that we've had. And again, Christ the King go forth, set the world on fire. Dean Whittlesey signing out. Thank you.